They hid the truth their whole lives. One phone call changed everything. You don't understand. We can't hide this forever. Jane took a deep breath and abruptly opened the door. The evening gloom was already covering the sky when Jane, tired after a long day, clicked the key in the lock. The familiar comfort of the hallway greeted her with the smell of coffee and old wood. She took off her shoes, sighed with relief, and at that moment the words reached her. The voice of her husband, Alexander, usually so smooth, velvety, as if lulling, now sounded like a taut string, sharply, stifled, cutting through the silence of the apartment. "You don't understand. We can't hide this forever. It's like a time bomb." In his tone one could hear not just tension, but almost despair. Jane froze, not daring to take a step. Who is he? Who is he talking to? We were alone in the apartment. She tiptoed across the familiar parquet floor of the hallway to the living room. The door was ajar. Alexander stood with his back to her by the large window, behind which the first lights of the city were already blinking. In his hand, clenched so that his knuckles turned white, was an old yellowed envelope. "She has the right to know the truth," Alexander whispered into the phone, and his voice trembled. He ran his free hand over his face, a tired gesture. "This is no longer fair, not to her." She gathered all her will into a fist, took a deep breath, and abruptly threw open the door. "Alexander, what's going on?" Her own voice sounded strange, hoarse from the strain. Alexander turned around abruptly, his face pale, his eyes wide open, full of horror and guilt. He looked at Jane in confusion. In the deathly silence that followed, which seemed to last forever, a woman's voice came through the phone, cold and determined. "Alexander, I'm not joking. Tell her the truth today, or I'll come and do it myself. She has a right to know that her real mother is alive, and she's looking for her." The words hit Jane like a sledgehammer hitting glass. The floor gave way under her feet. Alexander looked down. He looked broken. He handed Jane a small, yellowish envelope with a clear coat of arms. "I was looking for old tax documents in the storage room, and I came across them. I opened them, read them. I couldn't believe it."
Then she called. Your biological mother. Her name is Irina. She's looking for you. All these years."
Jane mechanically took the envelope. The paper was rough under her fingers. Inside she felt thick sheets. "Why?" she blurted out, her voice breaking into a whisper. "Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't they tell me? Who were my parents then? Who am I?" Jane stood in the middle of the living room, clutching the coat of arms envelope, turning her entire past life upside down. The cold weight of the documents burned her palm. The air was thick with the unspoken. Alexander stood opposite, not daring to come closer. His figure suddenly seemed alien and unrecognizable. She slowly sank into the nearest armchair, not letting go of her evidence, ready to finally read what had been hidden from her all her life. Jane opened the envelope. Inside, she found adoption documents, information about her biological mother. In an instant, everything collapsed. Her idea of herself, her past, her trust in the people closest to her. A whole life built on lies. Everyone knew the truth and deliberately hid it from Jane. Her biological mother is looking for her, and Jane will do everything to ensure that they meet. She will find answers to all the questions, go through pain and a long, painful path to the truth, and finally find what was worth going through all this for, the long-awaited feeling of home.